Hello there. Thank you for joining me once again. I am looking forward to you having a wonderful time with me today because I have something that is of interest, something that is going to be a great blessing to you. I believe that you were able to watch the last two videos that I made on um, what we are looking at, the theme of how to overcome your destructive fear. I'm believing that you got some meaning out of that, some value. Now, it's important for us to deal with this subject because, like I said in those two videos, there are some fears that are healthy, there are some fears that are needful, there are some fears that if you ignore, it means your life is likely going to end up in disaster. Why do I say that? Because you wouldn't know when to prevent or avoid the things that are destructive to you. You wouldn't know when to stop doing the things that will put your own family into chaos. You will just do things the way they come to you, knowing that most of the things that we do are not logical. We do them because the emotion, the sentiments are things that push or pull us. And after we get, to do them, that's when we look for the reasons or the logic to justify why we did what we did. That's how life is. That's why you walk into a shop and you buy the things you did not put on your list. You get to do the things that were not on your to-do list because many times, in fact, most times, the emotions, they always beat the logic. So today I want to share with you what came as an inspiration. I was walking to escort my wife somewhere. I mean, we just had to take a walk somewhere, and just at the corner of the road, as we were about turning, it just struck me. One of the reasons why many people are so attractive on the outside, and by the time you get close to them, you are perceiving a totally different person or personality, is that we tend to be more careful about how we look. We take time to, um, polish the outside, dress well, smell nice, do the much we can to make sure we look attractive on the outside. And that it dawned on me that why many people are so attractive from a distance, and when you get close to them, they are not that attractive, is that they renew the physical person, they renew the outer man. They have not given time to renew the person inside of them. That is where real transformation takes place. Transformation is the life that breaks forth from within, not from without. I mean, like somebody said, is a door that is open on the inside of you, using my paraphrase. And today I want to quickly, in the next few minutes, share with you one of the things that has stopped people who would have been mighty, doing great things, from being able to achieve even 1/10 of who they are. There are people who are supposed to be teachers, but fear. They can't imagine themselves doing what picture they've been carrying on the inside. There are people who are supposed to be authors, outstanding one, but the fear of putting down, and because they are more interested in trying to stop themselves from making mistakes. I do not want to make mistakes. I don't want to be corrected. Maybe truly they have been corrected in the way that as children, they were corrected in the ways that they felt like they were the problem or they were the mistake and not the mistake they made. So in trying to prevent that from happening, they make sure they don't do any other thing so that others will not see them um, making mistakes. But here is the point. It's not about whether you are making a mistake or you are not making a mistake. It's that there is fear that is hindering you. There is fear that is stopping you from being your fabulous self. There is fear that you are not able to discuss with anybody, but rather it has become a nagging thing that nags you in the privacy of your own time, nagging you in the recess of your own heart. And today, I have a responsibility to expose the enemy that has been hindering you from being the person you ought to be. I'm not talking about doing things. There are many people who are doing things, but they are still miserable. Do big things that others envy, but they are miserable. Reason? There are fears they are carrying on the inside that are hindering them from actually being. I'm talking about the being. First and foremost, being who you ought to be. So all their lives, they have been striving, struggling. They have been, doing everything just to do what others they feel are accepted are doing. Not being who they ought to be so they can do what they were designed to do. I'm believing that that makes sense to you. As I minister to people, as I get to talk with people who want to have long-lasting relationship as a relationship coach and a marriage mentor, I discover something. One of the big problems that people have in relationships is that they carry inner fears that they grew up with. They carry fears that they grew up with that they are not able to share with their spouses. Now, don't be fooled by anyone. Someone will say, but they are husbands and wives, they should be able to discuss everything. Now listen, this is what happens. Many times we do very well when we start off because we are seeing it, we are approaching it from the perspective of a project. You approach marriage relationship as a project, especially for the men. And the women many times are just assuming that this guy I'm marrying is going to continue engaging me in discussions as he has been doing. See, why he's that committed? It's not that he wouldn't want to do it. It's that sense of something that he's going to achieve that is going to add another feather to his cap. And so he pursues this project all charged up. He is passionate. He knows how to say the right thing. He knows how to find out what you want. He is doing his best to make sure keeps you fully engaged. In fact, a day hardly goes by that he does not call you up, to find out whether you have had time for your break. During break time, he's careful to observe that. And many people have the crisis because they don't understand it after they get married and they are through with honeymoon. For those who are able to create time for the honeymoon, because many people can't, because there are bills to pay, there are things to be done, there are obligations. There are several things that are hindering, stopping us to do the things that we want to do, those idealistic life we had, those dreams we had before we got together. Many people can't do it. People hardly are able to have honeymoon of 1 week. Reason? You got to get back to work. Now, we're not looking at that today. But here is the point. There are many fears that you received or imbibed, were passed on to you as a child, and you were not operating with your conscious mind then. Even if you were, you could not understand any better, because the people who are very important in your life were passing on things onto you. You had no defense. You had no knowledge than what they taught you. You had nothing else than what they gave to you. And so you just open up. More or less, your subconscious was just drinking in. I mean, they had access to your subconscious and were just pouring in things that are harassing you today. People hardly are able to challenge their upbringing, except in very critical moments when they are faced with realities and they are now challenged to look back and review the things that they imbibed as children. You see, most times from right in the womb to about 7 years, sometimes it stretches up to 10, and then 11 hardly, because the exposure children have nowadays is different from what used to be. But critically, from the womb during formation to when a child is about 7, more or less they sponge. They just absorb the things, the information, the experiences that they have around them. And that is why many people grow up living the life of fear, because the fear they are living with didn't come from them, didn't come as at the time they were adults. Few people also have experiences that were very emotive in nature, very sentimental, very emotional experiences that they are unable to overcome. Such people should be able to meet up with experts who have the right kind of tools, the right kind of materials to help them. But this is what I want to recommend to you, and that is, would you sit down and put down the fears you grew up with? And if you can, and I believe you can, drop your question under this video, and then we are happy to help you. Or better still, if you are within the city of London, every Friday evening we meet to talk about these things that are hindering you. Let me tell you, some people they live for 50 years, 60 years. They do not understand why they are always hindered. It's not everybody that is hindered from the outside. Majority of the people are hindered from fulfilling their destiny, fulfilling their purpose from within. How? The fears that hinder them, the fears that torment them. The last portion we read from 1 John chapter 4 says that fear has torment. And I had promised that I was going to read another scripture, another Bible passage that is saying something different. Now, this is it. And I believe that this is going to help you. And this says 2 Timothy chapter 1 from verse 6 to 8. Wherefore, I put thee in remembrance, that thou stir up the gift of God, which is in thee, by the putting on of my hands. Verse 7. For God had not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. In other words, you can read it this way. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but has given us the spirit of power, the spirit of love, and the spirit of a sound mind. Now, it's not a physical thing, but yet it's powerful enough to affect your body. It's powerful enough to affect the parts of your body. It's powerful enough to hold you back. It's powerful enough to sabotage the dreams and aspirations we have as human beings. It's powerful enough to destroy families, to stop the next generation. Because you see, the worst is that many times our fears don't start and end with us. But because we love our children, because we want them not to enter into trouble, sometimes because we wish them well better than we wish ourselves, we share our fears. Just like you like to share the things you have that will do them good. Consciously, unconsciously, we pass on our fears. We share our fears with them. And these fears stay because they have not been able to realize that's what is happening. They don't even know what is happening to them. It's like being born into trouble. And others will rise up and will blame God. If God is alive, why would he allow this to happen? It's that God had designed that people should be born into family. And when they are born into family, their parents should pass on the things they should live and grow old with. That is it. It's that man has so tempered with life and things in this life so much that even the planet Earth is reacting. Why? Our footprints is getting too much. We have been able to disturb the earth so much that the earth is beginning to cry out in various ways. It's screaming with tsunami, screaming with hurricane, screaming with all kinds of storms and waves. Beloved, I know that you can be helped. So if you are around the West London, precisely West Drayton, I want to invite you this Friday and all the Fridays we meet at Drayton Garden Village Hall. Drayton Garden Village Hall, Evergreen Drive, West Drayton. Now the postcode is UB7 9AE, United Kingdom. Now, we want to have time to share with you, share a cup of tea, share some snacks, and at the same time, have a short time to answer your questions, to speak to you, minister to your heart. This is what happens. That law of physics works with human heart. See, your heart will continue to maintaining the fear, and your life remains under bondage of fear until there is another force that comes to move you away from it. But the problem is that many of us are exposed to external forces that move us deeply, more deeply into the problem that put us under the bondage of fear. Now, the Bible says, you have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. Now, that's where I want to end today. But I want to invite you to be with us from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at Drayton Garden Village Hall, Evergreen Drive, West Drayton, UB79AE, United Kingdom. And if you are living far away but you are able to hear this ministration, drop a comment, like the video, share with your friends, and more than that, just let's hear how this is helping you. My interest is not to add to the number of people who are making videos, but is to see how we can help you. We want to see how God can use us to cause you to see the true picture of how God values you. You are priceless. Please remember to drink good, clean water and do not waste water. There tend to be water everywhere, but there's no good water that is enough. So the ones you have, just make sure you drink enough and don't waste it. God bless you. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks and remain blessed.